Hello, Hockey World. It is Wednesday, November 29th, 2017.
Hi, I'm the new host of the Today Show, Michael Agello.
I'm Russ Cohen from Sportsology.
What did we just talk about? And I'm Eklund, and you're watching HockeyBuzzcast on HockeyBuzz.com. This is a podcast that comes every Monday through Friday at this time to fill you out on the comings and goings in the hockey world. And we're going to talk a little bit of, we're going to continue the goalie conversation we had yesterday a little bit. Go ahead, Russ.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's affecting a lot of teams. We know what right now what's going on with Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Even go look at the New York Rangers. Andre Pavlik has one win. He's got 3 starts. I think he's got 6 games in. Yesterday was a winnable game. Yeah, you might say, all right, did he get screened for the final goal? Yeah, maybe, but he really, for not pinning the game on him, by him not just like coming up with a great save on the final shot, definitely took away all chance of him getting like another start away from Lundqvist, right? And at the end of the day, he's got like an 880 or 90 save percentage.
Right.
Not good enough. So my basic premise here is like I was worried when they signed him. So far, Benoit Allaire hasn't fixed him. And as a result, like Mike has a list, like Lundqvist is going to play 65 to 68 games at the age of 35, which is crazy.
Yeah, and I was telling Russ before the show, if you look at the way like the Toronto is using their goaltenders, they're only using their backup Curtis McElhinney in the second of back-to-back games. The Leafs have 14 back-to-backs this year, which means that barring any kind of like illness or an unforeseen injury, Frederik Andersen, who's right now leading the league in starts, he's started 22 games. They played 26. He's on pace to play 68 games. That's stupid. It's just, it's insane. You should play your goaltender 60 to 65 games, but 68 to 70, it's getting to the point of obscene. And last year, Cam Talbot played over 70 games, and I think there was a little bit of him running out of gas in the playoffs.
And then you look at Nashville; they rested Soros by putting him in the minors, letting him play some other games. They bring him back; he loses again.
Well, I think
How many games is Rene going to play this year?
I think it was a dual thing, Russ. I think they sent him down so he could get his confidence back because he had played so bad, and maybe he was getting I don't know how many times they used him, but maybe it was just to get some regular work. No,
I think it was. But a rest from the Nashville and NHL team, and just to get regular work there. And he came back and he lost. And so my basic point is, we can name a lot of teams that we look at as contending teams where the backup goaltending could really hurt their season.
Well, I mean, one of them, and it's just popped up in the last couple hours, Edmonton is in a precarious state. Now, they've won 2 games in a row, but they're in a precarious state in terms of getting back into the playoff race. And apparently Cam Talbot had an upper body injury in the game against Arizona, and he may not start against Toronto tomorrow. Yep. So that means Laurent Boisseau is their number 1 goalie right now. That's not
that kind of stuff always happens, though. It's like
that does, and
but it's a mess. My 2 cents on this is,
well, before your 2 cents, just to show you, Lundqvist has 22 games, Rene has 19, just as an example.
Okay.
Right. So I am really getting tired of. This is my problem with analytics in general and stuff like this. That we are reaching a period of time where there's something that the coach is supposed to do when it comes to goalies, and I'm really sick of it. I mean, to be honest, this is not the way that should work. As at the position I played, I'm a goalie coach on a soccer team, and I have to pick between 2 goalies all the time in different situations, and it doesn't work to just go like, okay, we have a back-to-back, so we're going to go with this goalie, or are you going to play your backup against the worst team, against a better team, because you think you're going to lose that game anyway?
Well, and
for years, and I think it's ridiculous that it's being done that way now.
Right. I mean, you're right about that. I mean, I was saying to Russ earlier an example of, say, and I'm just looking at, making a generic schedule up. Say a team has 1 game in a span of, say, 6 days, and they play Arizona, or they play a weaker team. More than likely, most teams are going to start their number 1 goaltender in that game. they could start the backup and they would give their number one a week off instead of starting the goalie and starting their number one goaltender and giving them 3 days off before and 3 days off after. And that's where the analytics is coming in. The statistics regarding the starting goaltender playing back-to-back nights, they think that, okay, it's better to play the fresh backup in the second game rather than the tired starter. But the starter is a better goalie inherently. And I think it's like, okay, if your backup is not that good that you're going to start him only in that situation, then get a better backup.
Yeah. And honestly, sometimes you've got a hot goalie, just stay with him the second night. It doesn't. I mean, goalies can play back-to-back nights. It's not the end of the world. And, I mean, the fact of the matter is we used to, I feel like the whole analytics thing is given the coaches the right to do this. Like they say, okay, we're playing the percentages here that we play this guy. And I just think that I don't know why coaches – like this is something I like about Mike Babcock. Honestly, he's not going to do that kind of stuff. He never
right. Well, he has been. But the thing is, I think he's going to get away from it now because – the Leafs have bought into the sports science thing heavily, and I think almost to their detriment. And they were giving the teams optional morning skates, and they weren't playing well. And he said yesterday after the game, he says we're going to go with Saskatchewan science, which means we're going to play
Saskatchewan science.
We're going to go back to mandatory morning skates, and maybe last year he played Anderson in back-to-back home-and-home situations because he didn't have confidence in Jonas Enroth. Now, he still has confidence in Curtis McElhinney, but Curtis McElhinney, in my mind, cost him the game on Saturday against Washington. He only faced 20 shots. He allowed 3 goals. One of them I thought was a bad goal. You've got Calvin Pickard in the minors, who I think is a better NHL goaltender. I think they should call him up, but they're going to stick with McElhinney probably because they're loyal to him. But there are teams out there where they may have better backup options, but other ones – they don't have the option, and maybe there's opportunity to go out and get themselves a goaltender on the market.
Here's some examples, okay? Okay. So here are teams that have gotten a lot of wins this year from their backup goalies, and actually you can make the argument it's part of the reason they're successful or staying in it.
Okay.
So Yaroslav Halak has 7 wins.
And he's a 1B. He's not a backup.
Oh, but somebody has to be the backup, Mike.
Sure.
You can't.
Right. But we've criticized the Islanders about their goaltending situation.
Right, but Greiss is the top paid guy, so you have to consider Halak the backup.
Right. At least Greiss is signed longer term. You're right.
Yeah. We look at. I just lost it. Hold on. Nielsen. Anders Nielsen's got 5 wins.
Okay.
You look at Lagasse's got 5 wins, which is crazy.
Yeah, they have 5 goaltenders or 4 goaltenders who have a victory.
You've got Bernier with 4 wins.
Yeah.
Reimer has 4 wins. Carter Hutton has 4 wins. Malcolm Subban has 4. He's part of that Vegas triumvirate, so you're right about that. Cam Ward's got 3. And then and LA's got 3 out of Kempner. So the teams that we talked about that don't have good backup goalies, the Rangers, Nashville, whatever, they don't even have that amount. They don't even have 3 wins from their backup, and that does cost you as the season goes on.
Now, the interesting thing, after we had our show yesterday, Bob McKenzie reported that Pittsburgh, regarding the goaltending situation, they're more than likely going to look for a backup to let Jari be the number 1 and then have a veteran backup there. The 2 names that were mentioned were Andrew Hammond and Eddie Lack. So they're not interested in paying a big price for a goaltender like a Cam Ward, which I think that would cost them something.
Yeah.
And they're going to go cheap, and they're going to hope to basically hodgepodge it for the next 4 to 6 weeks or whenever Murray comes back, and then hope that Murray stays healthy. But I agree with what Russ said yesterday. Murray's been hurt every year, and now they had the luxury of Fleury there, and now he's not there anymore. And now you probably have to come to the realization that you're going to need somebody who's not just a typical backup with Murray being so injury prone.
I just look at it like this, Ek. It's an interesting situation now where you're looking at the backup goalie market, and Vegas may have inadvertently shown the way for some GMs to sort of handle it by saying, just use who you have. If you could play a certain brand of hockey and defense in front of these guys, you may not have to upgrade. You probably could use almost anybody that's close to NHL ready. And so Pittsburgh's going to test that theory, it looks like. And we're going to find out. In the past, it never would have worked. But now, by the way defenses are, and by the way that teams study video, it's possible. And we've talked about how goalies are not going to garner huge salaries anymore. Like that.
What Pittsburgh is going to try to do is what LA did last year. LA was in survival mode once Quick got hurt. And if you look at Budai's statistics, he did a great job. But they played, again, I'm going to use the Stratomatic equivalency here. They played a 1-0 the entire year. They played a conservative offense and a shutdown defense to survive. And they did, but once Quick came back and then they traded off Budai, they weren't able to really step up and get into the playoffs. Pittsburgh has Malkin and Crosby, so they're in a different situation. But still, I mean, if you're going to play sort of a strap-down defensive style to cover up for Tristan Jarry and the backup, you better hope that Matt Murray gets back in a month, because you can't do that too long, otherwise you fall behind.
Yeah, you really can't. And I totally agree.
Well, Vegas has done it. I mean, they're probably going to fall behind, but so far they've done it.
They have, but they're playing the style they're playing is helping too. And they're also, the other thing that Vegas is doing that I think that plays into this is they're actually playing their goalies. They're not just waiting 2 weeks to play a goalie. Like some of these goalies are, when you sit there and you don't play, like watching Neuwirth last night, for example, you see a goalie who hasn't played in a while, and that if your backup is coming in,
right,
and hasn't played for 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks, it's sometimes not fair to throw these records on these backups. Right. They're trying their best to come in there as sharp, but when goalies are rotated around a little bit more, and I'm not saying that again, I'm not saying that every head home and home should be two different players. I'm just saying,
but here's a good example, like yesterday's Ranger game. Lundqvist comes out, the Rangers are losing, they tie it up with Pavlik in there, he gets the loss.
Right, he gets the loss. I know, and that's
right. I mean, he does get the loss.
Goalies have to play. I mean, that's why you really send down to the minors to play.
Well, that's Carolina played Toronto last Friday. Carolina was losing 4-1 going into the third period, and they pulled Cam Ward for Scott Darling. The final score was 5-4. Scott Darling got the loss because he allowed the fifth goal.
Well, that's the big thing. The way they do it in the NHL, they should do it like pitchers do it in baseball, but they don't. They should.
But here's the other thing about the playing part, Ek.
Yeah.
What it looks like the Rangers are going to do is something that other teams do too, and that is Pavlik's really only going to get the rare back-to-back start, and probably after the All-Star break, no starts at all. And he's going to just come in when Lundqvist has a bad game.
So, from the oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, some goalies can, we've seen in the past, can carry that kind of workload. Lundqvist can do that. Lundqvist is a goalie that
but he is 35. It's a risk.
No, it's true.
Yeah, and from the Pittsburgh perspective, if you look at it now, it appears that they're going to go bargain basement shopping. It's going to be Hammond or Lack or Michael Hutchinson or one of these goaltenders who's been buried in the AHL by a team because they don't trust him anymore. And that's the thing. It's like going with Niemi again. You're trying to get somebody off the scrap heap who you think is going to actually step up and do something. And maybe they have confidence in Lack can turn it around, or Hutchinson can do a good job, or whoever. But I don't know. I mean, that's an awful risky proposition for Jim Rutherford, who's a goaltender in the past. He would know. Right. But it's an awful risky proposition to put your season on the back of Eddie Lack. I mean, it may be more on Tristan Jarry, but it could be on Eddie Lack if they make that trade.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I think the reality is, they do believe that the Penguins believe that they're going to make the playoffs. And now we know that that's not a guarantee, but I think that deep down they believe that if they were 4 points out with like a month to go, that team would hit their playoff gear and they would get in without any problem, kind of thing. So they're right now, the Penguins aren't looking at it, in desperate form. They just
not yet.
Right now, right. And the thing is that when this whole Ian Cole thing popped up, their wish list had nothing to do with goaltenders. It had to do, and they were looking for a backup because they wanted Jari to go play in the AHL regularly. But now he's going to play in the NHL regularly. But their focus was upgrading up the middle, or maybe dealing Ian Cole for that possibility. But now you have to say that goaltender is at the top of their list because they're in a situation where they just need one badly.
Right. Now we had the ninth loss in a row for the Flyers last night. This one, they are 0-4-5 during the stretch. So there was a long talk, I guess, with Hextall afterwards, as you predicted, Russ, and where Hextall got in there and basically just gave his confidence to the coach. I mean, this was a day that
but he didn't give the fake vote of confidence. He went a different direction, actually.
Okay,
I give him credit for that.
Explain.
They basically, because he said, look. He likes the way they're playing to a degree. They're battling. They're getting some points, but they're getting losses. So it's unacceptable, but not all of their play is unacceptable. And so, he didn't start saying that, I support Dave Haxtell. He didn't use Haxtell's name a lot.
Yeah, he didn't. But he did say we're all in this together, kind of. That was
they're all in it together, which is true. They are. Yeah. Now, while that all is true and it's all great, he has 2 days to practice, and then they play Boston. If they get hurt in that Boston game where all of a sudden they look as lifeless as they were against the Sharks, because they were for most of that game, and I was in the Sharks room, and I could give you a little feeling of what it was like there, then I think Haxtell's job is in trouble. Yeah. It might be fine right now, but this is a very rare moment in a season where you get 2 full days of practice.
True.
Yeah, and that's usually that's why this is often the time
this is the test
that you do fire the goalie. That fire the coach. I mean, if it was something was going to happen, it would have happened today.
Correct.
Because you have the 2 days after that. But Hextall did make a pretty big stance on how important Saturday's game was during when he was talking as well.
Yeah.
So Boston's game does become a must win.
Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but when Haxtall said, and I'm paraphrasing here, when he says nobody said it was going to be easy, I honestly that statement sort of baffles me because okay, we know that you're going to be challenged because this is clearly a team in transition with a young defense now with young forwards like Nolan Patrick, Right, we know that's not.
There were some weird things. I mean, I agree with you, Mike. I do agree with that.
Maybe he was conveying what Hextall originally told him when he took the team over. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, Hextall has such a difficult. Hextall is such a difficult coach to read because he really does not give you anything.
He gives you nothing.
I mean, and when he says nobody says that's about. I mean, that's just one of the many cliches you'll get. It's just the cliche world that he lives in.
But I got some negative points for you, Eck, and you could say if you think this is over-exaggerating or not. But with 3 minutes to go in the game, down 2 goals, Dale Weiss was on the ice. That was one thing I noticed.
Weiss, the general ice time of Weiss in general this year has baffled me. How much they keep relying on him.
Yeah, expecting him to come out of his funk. With 1.5 minutes to go in the game, Michael Raffle was out on the ice.
Yeah.
Now, I get it. He's got his only 2 goals recently. But again, don't you want to die with your best players on the ice? And then with about 2 minutes to go, 3 minutes to go, they had Shane Gostisbehere and Ivan Provorov together, and they looked like they never played together before. They actually had a turnover at that point.
Yeah, which is tough. I mean, they don't. I mean, the only time they see each other usually is the power play, right? For the most part. There's definitely you can see a disconnect throughout the team, and you can definitely get the sense the one thing that Hextall said that was sort of. I mean, there were a lot of little things in his statement that were weird.
And he was just on the radio, so I listened to that, and the message was pretty similar. I would say the only thing he added to this was, when they asked him about the Braden Shen trade, he explained that the Braden Shen trade was for the future and that Morgan Frost was a key player that they had identified, which I get it. I even sent that radio station my report on Morgan Frost because I said, hey, he's a really good player. Now, I had him just outside of my top 45 at the end of the year.
Right.
But they also knew they were going to lose him if they didn't take him there. So they took a risk and they got him. But I think he's a really good player.
Yeah, no, that's a really smart move. I mean, Hextall is going out and saying that the team's played well enough to be 500 during this 0-9 stretch, but hasn't. That's always a strange thing to hear from a GM in general. And you don't ever say when you're losing, you don't ever say you're playing well enough to win. That's something that it's usually a bad sign when you get that from a GM.
The toughest position for a GM is when the player that you trade is doing well on the other side. And in that deal, I mean, Frost, I'm fairly confident that Morgan Frost is going to be a very good. He's a great prospect right now, and he's going to be a good NHL player. I think that it's right now Philadelphia sees Laterra as the main piece coming back, and Laterra is what he is. I don't think he's a particularly effective forward, but he's I think he's more bottom six. Where Schenn,
I'm totally underwhelmed with him. I want to say, he
is, but I will tell you this now, and I've been looking for little things in him because clearly, even though he's faster, there's not going to be much offense. But he laid a hell of a hit on Ryan Reeves, which actually was a big deal for the Flyers because otherwise Reeves would have just run rush shot over them in that game and didn't. You got to look at that aspect of his game too.
I mean, this is where I don't understand the sort of mindset of Hextall is because you bring in two players who cumulatively are making around $10 million total in Laterra in the St. Louis deal and Filppula in the deal with Tampa Bay. And really, I mean, I don't think Filppula is a top six forward anymore. I don't think Laterra is a top six forward anymore. Right. But this is the thing. Philadelphia and the fans in Philadelphia are looking at this team as if they are a playoff team, and that's why there's so much frustration out there because of how they're playing. And anybody from the outside looking in thought they were a team in transition who needed a year or two with a lot of good young defensemen and some good young forwards. And when they win, their goaltender is not going to be Neuwirth. It's not going to be Brian Elliott. It's going to be Carter Hart.
Yeah.
So that if they were more upfront with the fans in Philadelphia and said we're a team in transition, then I think that this hubbub regarding Hextall would not be as much. But they think that this team should be a playoff team, and that's why the pitchforks are out for Hextall.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's. I mean, they have that. I mean, Hextall said they're a playoff team. He says he thinks they're a playoff team, which and he's not one for hyperbole. He believes that they are.
I mean, he obviously believes that we just didn't believe it in him. But I always felt like the playoff talk was that's the best case scenario, but they're still working his plan to rebuild. So, like, if they make the playoffs while he's rebuilding like they did a couple years ago, hey, great. That doesn't hurt your rebuild. But if we're talking about them as a focus, the focus is as a rebuild, not a playoff team.
Yeah, I mean, the quote he had about Stefan about Moran during the during the interview was interesting to me. He listed we've got all these older, we got 21-year-old defensemen, 22-year-old defensemen, 23-year-old defensemen. He's like, so bringing another young defenseman in is not going to help. Keeping that's not what we're looking for right now. That's why he brings Andrew McDonald in. That's why he brings that record boost. And I get that, but
yeah,
I think
that's right. Actually,
it is right, but they're different kinds of young defensemen too. They're not all just because they're young. They're all the same kind of defensemen. Like to me, like I talked about yesterday, I feel like a lot of these defensemen they have are the same. Where Moran is much more physical and much tougher, which they could use.
But he's very limited in how you could play him. He can only play the left side. He's only a good straight line guy. So if he's matching up against teams that are really fast, he's not going to get a lot of shots in physically because he's not going to catch a lot of those guys. That's where he's not ready.
Yeah, but I mean, penalty killing and stuff like that would be different. I mean, they need penalty killing presence in front of the net. They need that kind of stuff too. I think that's.
Yeah, I get that, but how many minutes of a game is he going to actually be doing that job? Yeah. That's where I think Hextall's looking at it and saying he's better off playing in the minors a much bigger role and trying to actually get better at his game because he's not NHL quality yet.
Right. A trade that I think sort of is going under the radar. I mean, obviously the Duchesne trade was a big deal when it happened. Mm-hmm. But what a lot of people haven't realized is how good Kyle Torres has been for the Predators since he got there.
And how bad Duchesne has been for the Senators so far.
Yeah, Duchesne hasn't done much for the Sens so far. Torres has 7 points in 9 games with the Preds. And more so, the Predators are 7-1-1 during that period of time too. So the Preds have played a lot better with him by adding him in the lineup. But just another really slick move, I think, by David Poile in a lot of ways.
Well, almost hand in hand at the same time that Turris came back, Bonino came back too. Now I don't know what his stats are, but I'm just saying it gives the Predators those 3 guys up the middle, which is tough to match up with. But I mean, I saw some of the game yesterday against Chicago, and I'm very, I was less impressed about the Predators last year because, I mean, they were doing it with Freddie Gaudreau and Colton Sissons. Now you see the talent there, and if Rene can keep this up, and like I said, if they get Ryan Ellis back, around January to February, and
he'll be a force.
They'll be a complete force. Exactly.
I really do see them as taking that rollover that you used to see with the LA Kings in the Western Conference, of the team that's going to make the playoffs and no one's going to want to play them. Like they might not make the playoffs as the first seed, but they're going to be one of the hardest teams to play in the playoffs. And I think I
agree with that.
That's the issue. That they're building towards that for sure.
Yeah, but the one shame, and again, this is the shame about the divisional playoff setup. I mean, if it's a Nashville versus Winnipeg, a high-powered offensive, exciting team like the Jets, and a team like Nashville who is deep and talented, we're going to lose out because one of those teams will be eliminated in the first round. Whereas if it was a 1 through 8 setup, which I liked a little better, or the 1 through 8 with the wild card situation, I like that setup better. But it is what it is, and you're going to have that 2-3 matchup in the Central and every other division, and teams that maybe deserve not to get eliminated in the first round are going to get eliminated.
Yeah, Preds fans also caught last night chanting Forsberg, "You suck," which was interesting. Preds fans getting on Philip Forsberg, who has 12 goals, but is inconsistent. He is definitely Forsberg is. He seems like such a superstar at times, and then he does disappear for long stretches of time. But it's interesting how a fan base can go into this feels like a coming of age moment for the Nashville Predators fan base to me. Like, this is like, okay, they're.
I think that they find after getting to the final last year, now they're drunk with success, and their
expectations are high now. They expect better things, which is great. I always think that's great when a fan base gets to that point. This is a.
And I use that. I use that phrase for a reason. Drunk with success.
Yeah. Well, you have it there. Yeah. But no, for sure. I think so. I thought that was pretty impressive that they actually were getting on them. Speaking of which, someone brought this up to me, and I thought this was fascinating. The Atlantic Division, the Great Atlantic Division, is really just not the Great Atlantic Division. We only have 2 teams that actually have. What was the stat? It was pretty crazy. Only 2 teams have more wins than losses in the Atlantic right now.
Yeah, Tampa and Toronto.
Yeah. Choppy waters in the Atlantic, Eck.
Yeah, I know. There you go. Nice article, nice headline. So Detroit being in 3rd place with 10 wins in 25 games.
And see, that's why Montreal, in spite of the train wreck that it's been this year, is not out of it. I mean, they have 23 points, and they've won 2 games in a row. Price coming back. And Detroit's got 25.
Yeah, I mean, Montreal looks like they're going to be a playoff team. I mean, they really do. I mean, just the fact of the matter is, Price.
They could be a playoff team. They don't look like they're going to be one, but they could be one.
That division, they look like they're going to be a playoff team. As I put it.
Played 3 more. They played 3 more games. See, this is the thing. Right now, Ottawa is fumbling around. Boston,
they are fumbling. There's no doubt.
Boston has been beset by injuries, and they're
David Backes is back tonight.
Right, and Krejci is back, so they're getting their players back. We have to see I would say, up until New Year's to see what these teams do. If Montreal continues to wallow, I mean, right now it's all on the back of Price. If Price stays healthy, the goaltending won't be a problem. Their offense is going to continue to be a problem because they just simply can't score. And, they can win just so many 2-1 games. So I mean,
teams for Montreal are Ottawa, Detroit, and Detroit. So we're talking about this is a stretch where they can put themselves into that 3rd place by with a couple wins there.
Yeah, I mean here, Detroit 25, Boston 24, Montreal 23, Ottawa and Florida 22. They're all in it. The only team that's out of it is Buffalo.
Yeah,
that's the only team.
Who is now tied in 31st place with the Arizona.
Only because there's no 32nd.
Right. I guess you guys heard the fun story about Connor McDavid, which was pretty hilarious. In Boston, he was out skating. He
borrow skates or rent them or something?
We went to a public skating place and, just rented skates. And the skate person insisted that he said, "What size is your feet?" And McDavid told him, and he said, "Well, you had to get a size smaller than that." And McDavid's like, "No, I'm good. I want the size I have." Like, "No, trust me, you need a size smaller than that." And this is, telling Connor McDavid, probably the best skater in the history of the NHL, what size he should wear was pretty good.
Well, the interesting.
Can you at least give him spray? Because that's the one thing I worry about when I don't rent anymore. But like Mike's a bowler, and I wouldn't dare own a pair of bowling.
I have my own shoes.
I know, but I wouldn't dare own a pair is what I was trying to say before I was rudely interrupted. But I would bring my own spray, because that was the grossest thing, having to rent shoes.
Desenex for athlete's foot.
I know. Remember when you were kids, you just could do in your socks? They didn't even care.
Yeah, they didn't care. They didn't care because lawsuits didn't matter back then.
I remember that. You could just drop a bowling ball on your socked foot. No problem. That would be no problem at all.
No.
Yeah. Now,
you guys, name the only team that is undefeated at home this year in regulation.
Yeah, actually, it's
Vegas has lost one. They've lost one game.
Vegas lost one. I think it's Colorado.
It's not.
Mm.
It's an Eastern Conference team.
It's not Ottawa.
Nope.
It's not Toronto. I know that for sure.
0-2 at home.
What? I'm sorry. What was it?
They're 8-0-2 at home. This team.
8-0-2 at home.
8-0-2. Oh, Detroit?
Nope.
No.
Tampa.
They hate the arena. They hate playing there. But the Islanders at the Barclays Center are 8.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. You know what? That's a good one. Yep.
Yeah, isn't that pretty crazy? I mean,
that is crazy.
And everybody talks about, we hate playing in Brooklyn. We don't want anything to do with it. Meanwhile, they have managed to not lose the game regulation on the island.
That's a big deal.
That was
on the island of Brooklyn.
I had today. That was one of the other is that Anze Kopitar has now matched his last season goal total.
Yeah, I mean, we knew we had a bad
Kopitar. I mean, and I was hard on Kopitar before the season started because of the diminishing thing. So I've got to admit that I was completely and utterly wrong about Kopitar, but I had no way of possibly perceiving that this could have happened like this.
Well, Tampa played in Buffalo last night, and I think it was Vasilevsky had 34 saves for a shutout. Yeah. To me, that's the biggest key for Tampa is the fact that Vasilevsky has proved that he's the number one. If there was any doubt, I mean, there was, after Bishop got traded last year, Vasilevsky played pretty well, and they came within a point of making the playoffs, even though they had traded off players and had injuries. But he's really stepped to the forefront this year. And, I mean, right now, we got a lot of season left, but Tampa they're really an impressive team, I have to say. And conversely, Buffalo, the Evander Kane stuff is starting to pick up. I know that there was the thing is that apparently Buffalo Kane's salary is $5.25 million. Buffalo is probably going to have to retain salary to be able to trade Kane and get value back. So, and I don't think that's going to be a problem, but there's gonna be a comeuppance here with the Sabres roster. You can't blame Housley, you can't blame Botterill. There's gonna have to be some massive changes. I would not doubt that a couple players like Bogosian, if he's healthy, because they might not be able to buy him out, but Bogosian and Matt Molson will get bought out.
Skated yet? I think he was supposed to. I know
he hasn't played a game.
Yeah,
no, I know that, but he was getting they kept saying he's getting close, but he's been getting close for like a month.
Yeah, sure. There's a report out of RDS right now that the Hurricanes are close to sell it. That Kamanis is on the verge of selling a big chunk of his share of the Carolina Hurricanes to a Dallas billionaire named Thomas Dundon. Anything about Thomas Dundon yet? I'm going to try to find out more, but we do know he's from Dallas. He's a billionaire, and that's all. The big team.
That's good work by you, Eck.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. That's all I know.
Now
we'll find out more as it goes along, but we do know the NHL loves their billionaires. I mean, there's no question about that. The NHL, if you're a billionaire,
that's the only type that seem to get teams, really.
Yeah, if you're a billionaire, you're going to get a team really.
All right, I've got some info on him. Right. So he's the former CEO of that bank Santander that we've been seeing moving into a lot of cities lately.
Okay.
He calls himself the bank.
Oh boy.
So do I around here.
Is he friends with Boots Del Biagio?
Called brilliant and unique by some.
I call myself the bank in like 1930.
What? along these lines, an interesting report that came out from Darren Drager yesterday.
Actually, in 2015, he was just shy of $1 billion. So I kind of wonder if they did an audit. Is he a real billionaire?
I hate people with fake being billionaires.
That's why he only bought a portion, because he's not a real billionaire.
You got $980 million. You are not a billionaire.
Yeah.
Your life is miserable and just as miserable as everyone else's.
Friggin' pauper. No, so Drager reported yesterday that there are hints out of Ottawa regarding Eugene Melnyk selling the Senators, and that now they've been denied. But I have a feeling that Senators fans are ready to move on from Eugene Melnyk, because I think a lot of their moves over the last few years have been based not on improving the team on the ice, but the money that they spend the money that they spend on their payroll. And I don't think they had this phenomenal year where they got to within 1 goal of the Stanley Cup final last year. But if you look at some of the losses that they've had in terms of players like Mathot, they couldn't get Dion Phaneuf to waive his no trade, so they had to expose Mathot. They lose him. And they make this deal. They didn't want to pay Turris, so they got Matt Duchene pushing it down the road, so to speak, in terms of signing a forward. A lot of these, the Brassard deal, a lot of these deals were made because of contracts being front-loaded and things of that nature. And I don't think it's to the benefit of the team. And, maybe I think that there's a hunger for them to move on from Melnyk, but it's up to him whether he wants to sell or not.
Well, I had 2 thoughts about that. The first one is he fought so hard to get that outdoor game there that now that he's gotten it, he may feel like it is a good time to sell, because, that was like one of his dreams. But here's my question about that outdoor game, Mike. We went last year, and it was called the Centennial Classic in Toronto. Now, this one is called the NHL 100 Classic. What's the difference?
I don't know. I don't know. Because
it seems like they're just trying to keep 2 places in Canada happy, right?
Yeah, I see that.
Like a 100-year anniversary for 2 years to be like that.
Thank you. That's exactly because the NHL started in the 1917-18 season. This is the 100th anniversary. So last year it was the 100th year. This is the 100th anniversary. I mean, it really, it's like I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm going to try that one with my wife. Well, you know what? We're in our whatever year, but this is good luck with that.
Doing my 49th year when I'm 50 years old or so.
Right.
I don't know what that means. I know. So it's kind of. It is really funny. But
it's funny. It's like one of those things.
My wife actually brought this up to me because I said, they said they have this like centennial, whatever, 100th game, and she said, she said the same thing. Wasn't the 100th anniversary last year? I'm like, yeah.
The team was founded in 1917. So 2017, January 1st, 2017 was the 100th year. But this is the 100th anniversary. The 17-18 season is the 100th.
Right, because they played December 19th, 1917. Yeah.
Right. And there's going to be a game in Toronto at Air Canada Centre on December 19th. I think on December 19th or December 6th. It's in December. It's an afternoon game against Carolina, and it's the day that the first day that the Toronto Arenas played at the exact time 100 years ago.
I think Stan Fischler was at that game in 1917, and he might go to this one too.
He's getting a lot of publicity lately because he's one of the few people who remember the NHL beginning.
Well, did you see that a friend of mine from Facebook and Twitter and an author of a book on the movie Slapshot, Jonathan Jackson, posted something that was really interesting. If you take Jaromir Jagr,
I did see that.
Jaromir Jagr to Guy Lafleur. Jagr played against Lafleur. Lafleur played against Gordie Howe. Gordie Howe played against Dit Clapper, and Dit Clapper played against Cy Dennehy, I believe it was. And if you trace that back, that covers the 100 years.
Right. That's pretty funny.
That's pretty cool, actually. Only 5
players. Doing that kind of stuff. That's really cool. So who's off to their best start in franchise history with a 15-6-3 record, Russ? Come on.
Well, I know the Vegas Golden Knights are off to their best start.
You were texting me about how terrible they were all the beginning of the year, so I just
15-6-3.
Best start in franchise history, and a team that I predicted to finish in very, very high. And
the Winnipeg Jets.
Winnipeg Jets, yes.
Yeah, there you go.
15-6-3. I mean, the Jets are are playing crazy good hockey right now, and they continue to. I mean, obviously, the Knights are taking a lot of the credit for being the big surprise team, but the Jets.
No, Jets have been really good. But again, it's interesting how they're really good. They're really good because Connor Hellebuck stepped up.
Yeah,
no, that's for sure, and he's become the story. I mean, they're still scoring goals, but he definitely has become the story, And I mean, that's why if you notice, I brought up the Islanders and the Jets just for fun. And they're great. They're great stuff. It's happening. Now my video's not working again.
It's on. It's off. It's all right. Nobody's missing you.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to do something here. I want to do something here to see if this will work. Hold on. So let me try this again. And as I want to do, the NHL is a fun thing going on. And I want to end the show with today. But we can get. I'm sure you have something else. Do you have anything else, Mike? First.
Well, I can only say that it's very interesting. There are teams whose fan bases travel well, like in college football. But because they are one of the original franchises, it's very interesting to see when Toronto goes to either Western Canada or across the Peace Bridge to Buffalo, how many Leaf fans there actually are. And last night in Calgary, the Go Leafs Go chant was so much louder than whatever Let's Go Flames or whatever that it sounded like a home game. And that does piss off the home team. I know that Jack Eichel last year said it annoyed him remarkably that whenever they play Toronto, that it's basically, if there's 19,000 people at the now KeyBank Center, that probably about 10 to 12,000 are Leaf fans. But that's more because it's tough to get into the ACC. But I
got some breaking news that I think our listeners and viewers will find interesting. If you're traveling during the holidays, you're going to want to pay attention to this.
Uh-oh.
So American Airlines said that they had a computer glitch that allowed all pilots to take a vacation over Christmas week. Now the union says thousands of flights are in jeopardy of cancellation. Americans is saying that they're offering 1.5 times pay for pilots to fill in, and they hope to resolve the issue. Every pilot's on vacation.
Wow.
Get your cars ready, folks. Get ready to get on the highways.
So I'm just letting people know, if you happen to have a flight with American, start figuring out alternate plans.
Yeah, you know who's going to be piloting those planes? Remember from Gilligan's Island, Wrong Way Feldman? That's who's going to be.
Or from The Odd Couple, Pop Belkin, if people remember that episode.
Wow. All right, let's try something a little different. All right, so if you can see this, still you can see this, right? The NHL has this new thing. They're doing the greatest uniforms of all time. So they're having this showdown, which is a lot of fun. So I thought we would play a couple here. So.
Sure.
I think our first showdown here to see what we think are the best things. So you got the starting here with the Kansas City Scouts and the Dallas Stars. Well, I have a Kansas City Scout uniform right here. They can't see it.
I mean, this is an easy win for the Scouts, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's Simone Nollet is the on.
Yeah, that's, to me, this is an easy win for the Scouts.
No, I'm not so sure. I would vote for the Stars here, but you guys are the Scouts.
No, I'm going Scouts.
I would take that one then.
Isn't that? I mean, it looks like, is that a steer on the logo?
No, it's a. I'll show you when we get back.
Because I can't really see it, but that one looks. That's what it looks like.
It's an Indian riding a horse. Is what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, a horse is in it. So come on, I'm. That's right, because the Scout, right? I get it.
But 57% so far who voted on this went the way I went, which is went with the Dallas Stars. So I think
ignorant wretches.
Pretty cool. All right, now we got the 1947 to 76 New York Rangers, which is like the classic Rangers to me.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're showing John Rattel and the perfect hair. Like, that's an easy win.
Yeah, I agree. I'm
Boston Bruins. Yeah, I'm going with the Rangers too. Like, we got 3 of us there, so that's 64%. We got.
Look at that. That's a slobber knocker right there.
Yeah. All right, so now you got the 1995-2007 Boston Bruins against the Detroit Falcons.
The Falcons are going to get smothered on this.
Yeah.
I was not a fan of the Bruins having the Flyers sleeve thing that they've got here.
Right.
I have to say that was a problem for me. So I'm going with the Falcons just out of that spite there.
That wasn't a great era in Boston Bruins hockey. I mean, that's
no. But I will say the Falcons are actually lacking a complete logo. There's actually no logo.
Just right, Detroit Falcons. Yeah, well, everyone seemed to agree with us on that one. Let's take another one here.
Yeah. That's an easy one.
Skip. Let's just do this. Here we go. So, all right. Okay, now the 1980.
All right, this is a good one.
Penguins versus the Montreal Wanderers. A really good view of the uniform here. But
I'm going Wanderers because I hate the sleeves on that Penguins jersey, and I hate the yellow lid. Hate it.
Yellow lid, yeah.
Gold lid, whatever it is, yeah.
I would vote for the Penguins simply because I can't vote for anything Montreal, even if it's not the Habs.
The Wanderers simply because Mike won't vote.
Oh, come on. There you go. See?
You definitely won that one. Next up, we got, every time I flash that thing real quickly, the Hamilton Tigers versus the Jersey Devils. Wow.
I mean, we can't even see the Hamilton Tigers logo, but I see it down below.
I'm sure it was cooler than the Devils. Come on now.
Yeah, is that Calvin Coolidge in that jersey?
I have to vote for the Tigers. It's hard to root for that Devils logo.
I'm with the Tigers, Mike.
It's a boring logo.
I'll vote for the Devils.
Yeah, well, you would have been right with as far as the fan base goes.
I know, but it's a boring logo.
Here we go. 1985 Vancouver to 97 Vancouver Canucks.
Look, we know the Leafs are going to win this, but I will take that Canucks logo over the Leafs.
No.
Or the 1938 to 67 Toronto Maple Leafs.
No, I like other Leafs uniforms a lot. I don't like that Leaf.
That's the traditional. That's the championship Leaf.
Yeah, I get it. The championship one that's brought them so much good luck. I like the Canucks logo instead. Wait, Mike, did they not wear that for the outdoor game? And they lost that game. So
why did they stop a uniform after actually winning the whole thing?
Because Harold Ballard because he didn't own the copyright on the old Leaf, so he decided to go with the straight line Leaf so that he could make more money as usual.
All right, now we have our pick. Okay, so I'm gonna say I'm a bigger fan of the big V in the Vancouver thing.
Yeah, we know the Leafs are gonna win, but I like the Vancouver one. That one, not the V.
I'm gonna go Vancouver too.
Oh, come on.
That was close. Look how close this was. Wow, people.
What is it? Oh, okay. Yeah, that is close.
Please.
It's probably because it's Pavel Bure versus
this is a fair matchup here. This is a good matchup here.
The Detroit Cougars versus the St. Louis Eagles.
Well, since the Detroit Cougars stole the D from the Detroit Tigers, I'm going to go with the Eagles.
Yeah, I'm going Eagles.
Yeah, I'll say the Eagles too. Oh, actually, people went with Detroit mostly.
Wow.
Was that Ty Cobb with goalie pads?
It might have been, or Hank Greenberg. Not sure.
All right, here we go.
Nordiques.
98 Predators.
I can't even see it. Who? All right, now I see it.
Predators versus the.
Oh, I'm going Nords all the way.
Yeah, the Nordique uniform was amazing. There's no question about that.
Oh, yeah, that's almost like a TKO. That's a TKO already. Man.
They must make it. By the way, Leafs. They must make it. The Nordiques wear that jersey when they come back to the NHL.
They better not be something. They better not do what the Jets did. Do something else. Right, this is the weird Toronto Maple Leafs. This is like the drunken Toronto Maple Leafs logo that was written about.
This is the one that they wore. This is the one they wore at the Big House.
I'm going again with the Tigers. I got to say, second shot at it.
This anti-Leaf crap.
It's not crap. I like that Tigers logo.
All right, the 37 to 55 Chicago Blackhawks.
I'm going Blackhawks.
Current Calgary Flames.
I'm going Flames.
Wow, right in the middle here. I'm going Flames too. Yeah, I don't like that Blackhawks.
Wow, that's a 50-50.
It's a George W. Bush Al Gore election.
Wow, yeah, it's a hanging.
If they can get this into some nursing homes, the Blackhawks may win this one.
That's what you call a hanging Chad LaRose, right? Okay. Oh yes, nice. Okay.
Oh my God. The flying V.
No way. The flying V is going to win because people want the ugliest, but no, the one to the left is so much.
It's the flying V. Come on.
Flying V. I got that jersey right behind me. Oh man.
Oh, what a joke.
Yes.
What a joke. How can you choose Thomas Gradini? Oh, okay.
Burn the flying V.
Oh, this is the weird blues jersey.
That is. Is that the Gretzky Blues one?
Yes.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah, that's a loser right there. You got to go Detroit Cougars.
Even though they
wearing a hat here.
Even though the Detroit Cougars should be sued for copyright infringement by the Tigers.
You know what that was? That was like a riding hat equestrian hat from the old days.
Wow, so people went with the Blues, but we didn't.
Wow, the Gretzky Blues jersey. I don't like it.
Oh boy, the current Florida Panthers versus the 67, 70.
This is where I go Leafs. I like that Leafs uniform.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the current Panthers one.
There you go.
Getting a little bit better. We'll do a couple more. This is fun. We can do a whole show with this.
Yeah, I'm not a Leafs hater, Mike. I'm a stylist.
Well, two unique. The battle of Eric Stahl uniforms.
I can't see it.
I think these are both. I think these are both pretty bad, actually.
I can't see it at all. Like it's not even popping up.
Is it coming up at all there? You get it now?
No, I mean, I saw a little tile at the bottom. It won't even. I can't even. When I click on it, it doesn't even.
Anyway, this is Carolina Hurricanes.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Versus Minnesota Wild.
I'm going Minnesota Wild every day of the week.
Yeah, I'll go Minnesota.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think the Wild. Yep. So is everybody else.
Wow.
One more. We'll here. This is cool though. Wow. This how many different.
That's the Harold. That's the Harold Ballard leaf right there.
Yeah, I'm going Columbus. I'm back to Columbus.
I'm going Leafs because that's
what Leafs on this one. I hate the Blue Jackets uniform.
I'm going red, white, and blue over the Leafs.
That's what Wendell Clark wore.
The only Blue Jackets. Oh wow. Okay.
Oh, tough.
No, there's no question on this one. The Seals uniforms were horrible.
Well, but wait, see, if they were going to show the Seals with the white skates, I would have gone Seals.
Yeah.
I'm still going to go Seals.
The one that said Seals was the only half-decent Seals uniform.
Leafs.
Yeah, this was that was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
We're winning a lot of these. Anyway, this is the show. Oh, boy. All right.
The
black Flyers third jersey, which I always hated.
But that one's going to win because it was Legion of Doom.
It was, but I mean, I hate when when the Flyers had orange, they owned orange.
What they should have done, the matchup that they should have done is the Hartford Whalers versus the Philadelphia Flyers wearing Cooperalls.
Yeah, no, I know. A lot more people went with St. Louis.
No, I would have liked to have seen the Boston Bruins Bears jersey against the Gorton Fishermen.
Oh yeah. No! How about the Boston Bruins Bear jersey against the barbershop Montreal Canadiens jersey that caused epileptic seizures?
That's good too.
Oh, okay. This is a good one. This is two.
Oh yeah, this is
very good uniforms in my opinion.
Ducks.
I'm going Ducks because I never really liked that Winnipeg logo.
I don't like the Ducks jersey very much at all.
Wow, 73%.
Yeah.
Who was up? Wait, I couldn't even see the score.
Okay, this is Carolina.
Mike, who won the last one?
Pats.
Ducks did.
Okay.
I think.
St. Pat.
I'm gonna go Toronto St. Pat's here.
So am I.
Yeah, I'll do that too. Carolina's not really going to work too much.
Oh.
All right, last one.
All right, last one.
Chicago Blackhawks 27 versus the Brooklyn Americans.
I'm going Brooklyn Americans, man.
They were in existence for 2 years.
I know, it's pretty great.
It was a good 2 years.
I'll go with the Blackhawks. I actually like that one.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Brooklyn. I never liked the Blackhawks. I like the current Blackhawk uniforms a lot. Well,
there you go. The guy looks like a jailbird with the stripes.
Yeah, he does. There's too many stripes on both those. No.
I like the socks on Brooklyn, but they go way too high, man.
Yeah, they do. They go way too high. All right, one more.
Ooh. Winnipeg's gonna win this.
Yep. Yeah, Winnipeg's gonna win that one. Yep. See, so there you have it. You can go to NHL.com and play yourself.
I like it.
It's good. It's a fun game. I like that a lot.
So tomorrow we'll start doing the NHL Draft Lottery Simulator.
Right. Yeah, that's right. It's time to start up.
We gotta wait a little while.
Yeah. After the World Junior, it'll be every day.
Yeah, after the World Junior, the draft simulator comes in.
Let's see. Yeah, because the rumor chart goes up. So as soon as that goes up, usually hit the simulator too. So we'll say. Remember that the buzz, folks. It is just hockey. We will talk to you tomorrow. Enjoy the games tonight.